question. I just want to pause this for a moment and ask you, what do you want to get out of this class? What needs to change in your relationship for you to get more of what you want? And I want you to be honest when you think about this. Because for most people, myself included, their first answer is, if they're really honest, is my partner. Okay. Now, I've got good news for you and I've got bad news for you. The bad news is we cannot control other people. We cannot get other people to do what we want, no matter how hard we try. But the good news is you do have influence, and you have a lot more influence than you think. Actually, have a lot more influence than you think. So let's get started. Let's understand what these shifts are. First of all, before we do get started, I'm just going to share with you who I am. Who am I to be telling you what to do with your relationships, right? Well, my name is Naomi Stonia, and I am a relationship coach. And for the last 6 years, I've been helping couples and individuals move out of difficult relationships and into better relationships. But most importantly, this is a path I have walked myself. I experienced dysfunctional relationships from childhood onwards that repeated in my adult relationships. Life was difficult for me in general. Relationships, it was all too tough. It was only when I found these relationship skills that life drastically changed for me and my relationships drastically improved. So I believe so passionately in this work that I now do it for a job. I am a fellow traveler with my clients on this path, doing this work alongside you. So let's get started on these shifts. Shift number one. This is absolutely crucial. Shift number one. We have to shift out of you versus me and into we're in this together. Now, how can you do this as an individual, right? How can you as one person shift your relationship out of this dynamic of you versus me and move into we're in this together? And I'm gonna ask you a different question. I'm gonna ask you, why would you want to do this? Why would you as one person want to shift out of the you versus me thinking that we get trapped in our relationships and into we're in this together? And the answer is because it is in your best interest as one person to um to do this. This is the air that you breathe. You know, two people pumping negativity into a relationship um is no good. If one less person is shifting out of these patterns, um, it is of benefit to you. So why would you, as one person, want to do this work? Because you have to live in this relationship. It's in your interest, it's in your benefit to do this. And the reason you want to do this is because humans are wired for connection. We thrive in good relationships. The quality of our relationships impacts our health, our stress levels, our overall well-being. The research has been done, people. Unhealthy relationships, living in isolation, living in disconnected relationships is the equivalent of smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. So you as one person moving out of unhealthy dynamics in your relationships, it will benefit you as a person. But the reason we are trapped in this you versus me thinking, the reason we are trapped in it is because this is the society we live in as a whole. Um, this is uh, the system that we are in. The system that we are in is adversarial. We are living in an individualistic system that celebrates individual achievement and individual empowerment. So just bear with me, guys. I'm just going to be letting a couple more people in here. Okay. So this is what is required of you. This is the first key move is to move out of you versus me and into we are in this together thinking. Now, you're up against it because the system we live in is not designed for you to think like this. The system we live in is designed for stability. It's designed for progress. It's a power structure. It's power over. There is two positions, power over, power under. Those are your two options in the system we're in. So you've got that you're up against. The other thing you're up against is that our brains are wired for survival. Your brain is about 40,000 years old. You're designed to live in a cave and survive daily. So our brains are wired to scan for danger constantly. And we don't know the difference between physical danger and emotional danger. So the other reason that you forget we are in this together, we are a team, we love each other, we're on the same side. The reason you forget this is because under pressure, when we feel attacked, when things get tense, that survival brain kicks in and it's you versus me. So this is very primal. We have these instinctive ways of protecting ourselves. You will have learned them young. These are default reflex actions that you make. They're like a reflex. You will either push forward, get big and loud, get very certain and black and white to protect yourself, or maybe you will shrink. Maybe you will just need to shut the conversation down, get the hell out of there. These are protective moves you learned when you were young. They shift us automatically into you versus me thinking. And from here, we're in an adversarial situation and we cannot be a team pulling together. So the first shift is to understand that it's something that you have to learn to do. Uh, we are by default instinctively move into attack defend mode, and you have to learn to catch yourself when you do that and move into we're in this together. I love this person. I'm on the same team as this person. Okay, we are not agreeing right now. I feel like we're far apart right now, but I want to get closer to you. I want to be side by side with you, sorting out this problem. So this is prioritizing connection over winning the argument. Okay. And this is a shift in your thinking that you have to learn because the system is not set up for it. Your survival brain, your cave person wiring is not set up for this. And it's something you have to actively do. So awareness is the starting point. This shift, this is how you depersonalize the conflict. In the moment, when the moment's hit, we've switched into our default protective moves, our conditioning, our wiring is kicking in, and it feels like, you're out to get me. You are not a nice person. The awareness of the things I'm talking about is how you depersonalize this, how you can shift yourself out of this person doesn't care about me, this person is out to get me, and into, okay, this is just what I'm programmed to do. This is the system at large. We live in a very adversarial culture. It's attack, defend culture. You know, it's tough. And so just knowing that all these reflexes and responses and beliefs and thoughts you're having, they're just natural and normal and they are not true. And I can just actively choose to shift out of this and into we're in this together. I'm going to prioritize connecting with you over winning the argument. You know, who's right? Who cares? Okay, that's the golden rule. Who's right? Who cares? Objective reality has no place in our relationships. So that is shift one. That is crucial shift one. The awareness of what is preventing you from doing this and the intention and the desire to shift into this, even when you automatically shift out of it. And shift two is asking for what you want relationally. So you have the right to ask for what you want in your relationship. You absolutely have the right. It is valid and appropriate to express what matters to you relationally. In fact, healthy relationships require you to do this. They require you to be honest and speak up about your needs. However, we are not taught how to do this relationally in our individualistic culture, standing up for yourself. That we have this conversation around boundaries, around self-expression, around standing up for yourself. And we're frankly confused. We're really quite confused about this stuff. And you know, we I want you to think about it. We see this in many different guises. You see it in the movies. You have the downtrodden partner, but the doormat being pushed around, and this person finds themselves, and they say finally, no more. I'm not going to take it anymore, and they say, screw you, um, and we all cheer and but what you're actually seeing when someone stands up for themselves in this way, screw you, I'm not taking it anymore. This is actually anti-relational, and you are empowering yourself often out of a workable relationship. So this screw you, I'm not standing for it anymore, I'm not taking it is not going to get you what you want in your relationship. Relational empowerment is we deserve to have less fighting in this relationship. We deserve to have less shouting. We deserve to have less distance. We deserve to have a better sex life. I want this for us. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, I want us to have a better relationship. That is relational empowerment. Relational empowerment is I want to hear what you've got to say, but can you say it differently so I can actually take it in? Yeah, that is relational empowerment. So it's balancing self-expression with the care for the relationship. So you know, boundaries as a boundary, putting boundaries, I'm not standing for this anymore. I'm putting in a boundary is anti-relational. I'm putting me first. Screw you. I've looked after you for long enough. Screw you. I'm putting myself first is anti-relational and it's going to empower you right out of your relationships. So why do we do it like this? Well, we do it like this because the system that we live in celebrates the individual. It celebrates individual empowerment and individual achievement. The system we're in is anti-relational. It's an adversarial system. It's not built for this deep, connected, passionate relationship that you're after. It's built for stability. Okay, so it's not going to teach you relational empowerment. The other thing that is happening to us is that asking for what you want is scary because you may not get it. You may not get it. Okay. This is the risk. So, this is why we get trapped in the cycle of angry complaint, of the blow up, where many things get said in anger and, and then in the height of the moment, everything gets said in anger, and then it all calms down. It all gets swept under the carpet. The person on the receiving end of it said, oh, they were just, having a moment. They were just overreacting. They were completely irrational, and it can be dismissed and swept under the carpet, and nothing ever actually gets solved. And the reason we get stuck in these cycles is because asking for what you want relationally is actually a scary thing to do, because you may find out that you can't get it. Okay. So I want to give you the example of a traditional heterosexual relationship as an example. Um, uh, Men know very well how to deal with an angry woman. They batten down the hatches, they wait for the storm to pass, and then they carry on as normal. Okay, so there's an example of angry complaint that doesn't get us anywhere. Asking, making a request, asking for what you want relationally, calmly, reasonably, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. That's the moment when you will get to find out whether you can have, whether your partner can give you what you want. And and because asking for what you want relationally, there's nowhere to hide, you will also have to cope with the other person's reaction, because when they can't dismiss you or shut you down as being unreasonable or demanding, you may have to cope with them being very upset when you talk about, when you reasonably and calmly and relationally talk about what it is that you need and you want and that you're unhappy with. They may not be able to handle that. Yeah, they may blow up, they may leave, they may fall apart when they find out that, you know, they're not giving you what you need. So this requires courage, and it's risky. It's risky to ask for what you want. Okay, it requires courage. But what I say to you is that real alive relationships aren't safe. If you safe relationships are dead relationships, they're friendships. A alive, dynamic relationship is uncomfortable. You will have to have conversations about uncomfortable stuff, and you will have to risk upsetting and hurting each other, and having some big conversations. So, asking for what you want relationally, as I said, is daring to rock the boat. Daring to rock the boat. You will have to be uncomfortable. It is exposing. It requires you to be vulnerable. There is uncertainty of the outcome. The other way that you must ask for what you want relationally is by changing your needs to wants. Okay. So a need is something that creates pressure. A need is very heavy, and your needs are actually your own responsibility. We make the mistake in our relationships of going to them to get. We expect our relationships to make us feel safe, to make us feel secure, to make us feel cherished and loved. But that's actually your own responsibility to meet those needs in yourself. A want is a very different thing. A want is a request, it's a desire. I I need you to be more loving. I don't feel loved by you. I need you to be more loving. It's a very heavy, it's heavy. a, a very different way of um, a very different way of asking for what you want relationally is to talk about wants. I would love, I love getting hugs from you. I want more hugs from you. I love it when we cuddle on the sofa at night. It's a request, and a request can be refused, but it's a desire, it's a wish, it's a hope, it's a dream. Um, it's it's not your partner's responsibility for you to feel loved. Um, so the other thing that is really important, I mean, a classic one is I get that's something that's frequently said on my calls is I want my basic needs met. And um, this feels like basic needs feels like a universal fact. It's just basic needs, right? It's obvious. I shouldn't have to ask. It should be obvious. These are basic needs. Like if you can't fulfill someone's basic needs, there's something wrong with you, right? And when you talk like this, you talk as if your needs are a fact when they are not. Your version of basic needs are going to be different to your partner's. They're going to be determined by what you grew up with, what you think is normal. So you have to distinguish your story, your experience, your wants and desires and opinions from facts. Because when you go to your partner and you talk about, like surely it's just normal to talk these things through, right? I mean, that's just what normal people do. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to have a talk about this. When you talk like that, you talk as if the way you want to do it is a fact, and it isn't, because it clearly isn't, because your partner's not wanting to do the same thing with you. So you have to talk about what you want as an opinion, as how you feel. This is what I would like. This is what I love. Um, are you willing? Are you interested in exploring how we can come together on this? Yeah, and this is something that people do. We just don't realize we're doing. We talk as if it's a fact. It's just like, of course you would kiss your partner goodbye and hello. Of course you would. Like, what's wrong with you? It's it's not a fact. It's an opinion. The other one is that comes into my calls a lot is the Cinderella complex. Your partner should just know, right? Like the basic needs, it's obvious, right? Like, I can't believe I'm having to explain this. Like, there must be something wrong with them. This is the Cinderella complex, the assumptions that we make that you should just know. And if you don't know, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with our relationship. Your partner does not know, they do not understand. And yes, you do have to explain it. And when you communicate in the emotions of shame, blame, or guilt, like, oh my God, there's really must be something wrong with you that you can't do this, that you can't um, socialize with me the way I want you to, you can't parent the way I want you to. When you communicate in those emotions, your message will not land. It will be resisted. It shuts people down. So getting really neutral and open when you make requests and really centering yourself in really checking in with yourself because it's so easy to catch ourselves in making sure that you genuinely are making a request, yeah, and being ready for the answer to be no, yeah. And when you've made a genuine request and you've made it relationally, reasonably, neutrally, you've asked permission. When you've done that, and you may need to do it a few times, yeah, only then can you say, yeah, they're not coming, they're not wanting to do this with me. And then the other thing that I really recommend you do when you start asking for what you want relationally is start small. Start with the simple stuff. Don't go to the big stuff. So when we've just had a question in about the quality of the relationship, that it's not our partner's responsibility to make us feel loved. Um, the quality of the relationship will, of course, impact how you feel. That's absolutely correct. But what you will always want to be doing is questioning where you feel lack, where you what is lacking in you, and doing the work on that and going to your relationship to give. Okay. So a great way to get more of what you want in your relationship is to give it. Yeah. So I always say to my clients, if you want more attention from your partner, become an expert in what they love. Okay. So for me, I've ended up becoming a fan of MMA. I never imagined I would be watching cage fighting, MMA fighting, very brutal fighting. Um, my partner's a big fan of it. So I just set the goal. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to become an expert in what he loves. And the surprise to me was I love it from there's more equality in the octagon than there is in the boardroom. Men and women get equal billing, equal fight, prize money. And also from a coaching point of view, the mindset is fascinating of these fighters, the mindset work that they do. So you want to do the work of learning to meet your own needs, fueling yourself, and going to your relationship with the intention to give. Yeah, to get what you want. A great way to get what you want is to give it. So, asking for what you want relationally is not something that is taught in society. In actual fact, we're taught the absolute opposite. So, um, yeah, this is a skill that we must learn. Now, shift number three. So, with awareness comes choice. This is shift number three. Once you understand what is preventing us from being a partnership, once you understand the system that we live in, is anti-relational. It does not teach us how to be relational. Once you understand the nervous system experience we have that defaults us into these attack defend places in our relationships, once you have that awareness, with that awareness comes choice. Okay, this is how you create choice. It's by looking at this bigger picture. So, this is just a formula. The formula is awareness plus intention, and then you can choose to do differently. Okay. You can choose to prioritize connecting over winning the argument. You can choose to request instead of demand. Okay. You can choose to stay in the argument, in the conversation, rather than getting out of it. You do not need to react automatically. So, these default protective responses that we have, they're learnt young, but with awareness, you can rewire these responses that you have. And they didn't used to believe that neural pathways could be rewired, but they have since discovered that they can. You can rewire your responses and you can learn these relational skills. But changing our responses is not easy. It isn't easy. This is hard work. And this is moment to moment work. This is moment to moment work, catching yourself when you go into attack defend mode, when you catch yourself not speaking your mind, or maybe pushing for answers when you can see that the other person is not receptive. These micro movements that we make, big and small, this is moment to moment work to catch them. Okay. And how you do this is you start small and you start with the day-to-day stuff. Yeah, and and the small moments, this is where the real work happens. Those small moments where, for me, the transformational moments were, I was a hot starter. I would go after you and push for answers. Okay. I'd insist that we talk about it. And the more my partner shut down, the more I'd be talking, 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 pushing, pushing, getting louder to get answers. And, for me, the transformational moments were those moments in, where the moment where I could just fire back a hot response. Um, that moment where I could just go, pause it and then just laugh, or just a quick, easy sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. That was not my intention. This is prioritizing connecting over winning the argument. Oh, okay, hang on a minute. I seem to have upset you with what I've just said. Hold it. That wasn't my intention. Can I say it again? Oh, sorry, that came out wrong. Those moments, like, when you're rushing to get out of the house, and it's all going crazy, and you're late, and kids and dogs and whatever, and this stuff could just blow up. Being able to just catch that moment and go, oh, hang on a minute, I didn't want to be like that. I'm sorry. These were truly, truly transformational moments for me, and for my partner. Well, once I started doing this work, he started mirroring me. He was the sort of person who would avoid the conversation. Once he saw me being able to catch myself, he was able to hang in and not leave the conversation quite so early. So this is moment to moment work of catching and choosing the relational path instead of the anti-relational path, because connection feels so much better. The warm jet stream of relationality. Life is a very different place when you choose connecting over winning the argument. Okay, so we just had a question. How does this work for neurodiverse people? So, awareness, the formula remains the same, is the answer. And the formula is awareness plus intention creates the opportunity to choose a different response. Okay. Now, that's the formula and it stays the same. Now, for a neurodiverse person, they may need more practice or more support, but the formula stays the same. So now I'm going to share with you a practical tool that you can use to start rewiring these neural pathways. And I'm going to share it in the chat with you right now. And you should have that with you in your chat. And you should be able to see that. Let me know if you can't see it. So, when we first start this work of changing our responses, instead of screaming, you never show me any attention, I'm so sick of it. Yeah. The ability to press pause on that. You're so unsociable. I can't stand it. You won't talk to me about money. I can't stand the way you you are you're parenting the children, the ability to press pause on that and choose a relational response is, you know, it's hard to do to begin with. And so the timeout tool, which is what this tool is called, is is precisely called timeout, like a kid gets a timeout, because when you are having these kind of responses, if you are freezing, if you are fighting, if you are people pleasing, when you are having these kind of responses, they are young. You have learnt these responses young. And so when you feel your system is hijacked and overwhelmed in whatever way, a young part of you has taken over, and it is time to time out. It's time to press pause. The the goal of the timeout tool is to put a hard stop, a ripcord pull on emotionally abusive, unhelpful behavior. All right. The timeout tool is responsible distance taking. Instead of storming off, this is a way to relationally press pause on what is going down. And this is one of the ways that you can start rewiring neural pathways. Okay. So you can uh, just let if your partner isn't on board yet with working on your relationship, you can just let them know that you're going to use this tool. And if your partner is the one who's a distancer, you can give them this tool and ask them, would you be willing to use it? So the goal of this is to put a stop to harmful behavior. So I love you too much to go there. I love you too much to go there. All right. That is the goal of this. And that is how you take distance. And you take distance from the I. You never say, you seem to be getting a bit overwhelmed here. I think you need a timeout. We never, ever, ever do that. That's going to explode things. That's going to take you in the complete opposite direction. The timeout is, hey, I am getting overwhelmed. I'm shutting down. I can't talk, or I'm going to say something I regret, and I've got a timeout. And um, the goal, and when you and when you take yourself away, you do not use that time to reset your argument and think through your defenses and go back into it. The goal is to get out of there, let adrenaline and cortisol reduce, minimum 20 minutes. And then when you return back, you're not returning back to begin the argument. You want to leave the argument now, and look at it another day. So it's a minimum of 20 minutes, maximum of 24 hours. And the goal, the aim of the game is when you return, it's to reconnect, not to continue the argument. Okay, so we've just had a question. What happens for the partner who has the abandonment issues? Okay, so if the partner being left has abandonment issues. Okay, all right. So there's one thing that we should make really clear about this, and that is that adults cannot be abandoned. Only children can be abandoned. Okay, an adult is free, has choices, and is has the power to look after themselves. Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. Um, my other half always tells me I'm angry with her when I'm not. What can I do? So you can ask her, why do you think I'm angry? What is it? Please tell me, please let me know what it is that I'm doing that feels angry to you. I don't want you to feel like that. Tell me, what is it I'm doing? I want to stop whatever it is I'm doing, and what could I do instead that would help you not feel like this? Ask her advice on that. So, um, with a timeout, um, that may be a moment where you can say, okay, can we just take a pause for a minute? If you feel that's happening, maybe we should just take a pause for a minute. So sorry, I've jumped into another question there. I was answering the previous one. So uh, if a partner is feeling abandoned, if they have abandonment issues, it's important to know that as an adult, you cannot be abandoned. So this is something that's happened to you. This is it, this is happening. This is from the past. It's not happening right now in the relationship. Okay. And so for that person who is feeling abandoned, you can tell yourself, you can remind yourself that your partner is taking space for the benefit of the relationship. A timeout is for the relationship. Okay. So that's really important to know. Adults cannot be abandoned, only children can be. And so that means this is something from your past that is coming into the relationship, and your partner isn't responsible for that. And your partner cannot parent that part of you. You will have to parent and manage that experience yourself, that you are responsible for that. And how you can do that is by telling yourself, my partner is taking time out for our relationship. They're doing this for us. They're not doing this to me. They're doing this for us. So, yeah, if your partner is experiencing you as angry when you are not, ask her what it is that you're doing that makes her feel that, and then ask her what would be better for you to do instead. Yeah. So, practicing timeouts in small moments, not just the big moments. Yeah. This is rewiring of neural pathways. So, we've got to change our thinking. We have to understand that what we're up against, the system that we are in, does not teach this to us. The system we are in is adversarial, it's anti-relational, it's not built to give us the relationships we want, it's built for stability at best. Um, 50 years ago, if a woman went to her mum and complained about her relationship, her mum would say, does he beat you? Does he put food on the table? Go away. The system we are in, uh, our grandparents settled for companionship. And that's not going to cut the mustard anymore. We want these deep, compassionate relationships, but we're in a system that has not taught us how to do this. It's not taught us how to, in traditional heterosexual roles, men have had this trained out of them from an early age. They've had it actively trained out of them, and women have not been taught to ask for what we want. We have been socialized to be the caregivers and to just do it all. And neither party wants to be in these positions anymore. But in traditional heterosexual roles, men haven't been trained. They have not been taught how to be how women are asking now, and women have not been taught how to ask for what they want relationally. The way we're asking, we're not going to get what we want the way we're asking. So we've all got to learn these new ways of being and move out of this system. So understanding that, and then learning the tools and techniques to and then managing that part of you that doesn't want to use them. So That's the training. Now we're going to go to the Q&A. I want you to put your questions in the chat. So you're going to click on chat and then you're going to go to new chat and you're going to send your questions directly to me. No one else can see them and I will stay on and get those answered. Just before we do that, I'm going to tell you about how you can work with me. Now, if what I've been talking about has resonated for you, your next step is to book a free discovery meeting with me. I will put the link to that meeting to my calendar in the chat. So all you need to do is click on that link. It will take you to my calendar and you can book a time and date to have a conversation with me. If you are interested in working with me as an individual on your relationship, what we will do is we will, on this call, you'll tell me what's happening in your relationship, where you're feeling stuck, and what you'd like to change. And the purpose of this call is for me to find out whether I can genuinely help you. So just click on that link, it's in the chat. It will take you to my calendar and you can book a time. So I'll walk you through the relationship breakthrough program. So this is a 6-month program of one-to-one private coaching with me alongside a self-guided online course that you have lifetime access to. This is a 6-step process, and I currently have 3 spaces left for this month. So if you would like one of those spaces, go to the chat now, click on that link, it'll take you to my calendar and you can book in a free meeting with me. And on this call, you're going to tell me what's going on, what isn't working, what you would like to change. And the purpose of this call is for me to understand whether I can help you. And if I cannot, I will tell you. But if I can, I'll walk you through the relationship breakthrough program in more details and we can explore whether you would like to do that. So, as I said, there are 3 spaces available. So, go to the chat right now, click on that link, and get yourself booked in for that free meeting. It's a free 30-minute meeting with me, and I'll go through your specific situation, explain how this program would help you. And yeah, and if I think I can help you, I will offer you a space on that program. Okay. Oh, you cannot see the link, someone has just said. Oh, I put it in the chat. Let me try again. Oh, yeah, it didn't send. There it is. Okay. So the link is now in the chat. So you should have it. Brilliant. Okay, now you see it. Okay, so get yourselves booked in for that free meeting with me, and let's talk about how I can help you. So let's move on to the questions. Okay, let me stop share for a moment. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so what do I do if my partner won't agree to a timeout? You can still do it. You can let them know, you can show them the timeout free download that I've given you and let them know that this is what you plan to do. You can use timeout to develop the capacity to show up differently in yourself. You know, you can choose to no longer be pulled into unhealthy dynamics. You, as one person, can make that choice. Okay, what about avoidant partners who take timeouts but refuse to repair afterwards? So that's not a timeout. That's obviously just withdrawing from the situation. So with that person, what you can do is you can make a request, um, you can ask them you can make a request. Could you let me know how long you plan to leave for? Could you let me know when you're coming back? Could you let me know when you are open to having a conversation about this? Those are one of the things you can do. The other thing you can do is ask, what is it that I am doing that makes you feel that you need to leave? Is there anything in particular that I could do differently that would stop you leaving? Yeah. It's about asking them what's happening. So I've got, I'm getting quite a few comments here about my partner just says I'm fine and won't talk. What do I do? Um, every time I bring something up, my partner walks away or changes the subject. Okay, so when this is happening, a common thing, yeah. So that would be okay. So we've got another one here. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions here. Let's deal with one of them first. Okay, so let's have a look. If I need to ask my partner why he keeps leaving, makes me wonder if he still wants to be in the relationship. Okay, so this is absolutely normal and understandable that you would think that. I want you to think about what I offer to you is this. Leaving is something that was learnt before they got into this relationship. The moves we make when things get tense were learned before we got into the relationship. This is a dance that we are doing. And so this isn't about you when your partner leaves. This is something your partner learnt to do. So it isn't because of you that your partner is leaving. Yeah. This is somewhere, somehow they learn how to do this. So um asking about that and trying to find out. I mean, there's various things going on here when we're getting stonewalled by partners. One, um, there's a sense of powerlessness if you've got a partner who won't talk. And the options you have if you've got a partner who won't talk is to get to work on yourself. Okay. So when I first started doing this work, I just let go of what my partner was or wasn't doing. I just let go of what they were doing and I got to work on me. Okay. And it was such a liberating feeling because trying to get him to talk, trying to get him to be different. Well, it left me powerless because I could not control him. When I just let go of what he was doing and I started getting to work on myself, it was an incredibly liberating feeling. And not only did I do that, but I also started owning my own stuff. I just let go of what he was or wasn't doing. And I started going, oh, I need to work on this. Oh, I could do better at this. And when I did that, when I just what he did or didn't do wasn't really relevant to me anymore because I just felt so great working on everything I needed to do. And when I did that, it dropped a lot of pressure. And it created more space. When partners are avoiding us or shutting down, they're feeling a lot of pressure. So I got to work on myself, yeah? And I stopped worrying about what they were or weren't doing. And that reduced a lot of pressure in the relationship and it created space. And when I started owning my own stuff, you have this wonderful thing that happens called mirroring, where when I started to change and improve myself and work on myself, my partner mirrored me. Now, if they don't, that's pretty valuable information. Okay. So if you've got a partner who won't talk, I would say just let go of what they are or aren't doing and get to work on yourself and see what happens. Now, you may have already done lots of work on yourself. You may be here. You've already done a lot of your work on yourself. Now, what I will say to you is this, if you've already done lots of work on yourself and you're still waiting for your partner to step up, is one, if you've done lots of therapy or counseling, that is not relationship work. So the insight that we gain in therapy and counseling, all the trauma work that we do individually in isolation, it is not going to help you in the moment when you are triggered in your relationship because the insight we gain in therapy is you will not remember that when you're triggered in the heat of the moment in the relationship. So the relationship skills required to learn to navigate what you're thinking and feeling and still respond relationally. These are relationship skills that we must learn, and you won't learn them in therapy or counseling. You'll get lots of insight, and that may or may not be enough. But if it hasn't been enough, if things still aren't changing, you need to do the relationship skills work. You need to learn where you go under pressure in the moment in your relationship. You won't find that out in isolation in your therapy session. And then once you know that, you then need to learn the skill of doing something different in the heat of the moment. This is a skill you can learn. So you may, if you have done that relationship work, there is another issue that happens. When we get massively into self-development, we then become very keen for our partners to do this, okay? And so we may think that we're supporting, giving advice, being encouraging, but it is probably, if you've got a shut down and withdrawing partner, being received as criticism and controlling. Okay. So these are the sorts of things that you have to consider when you work on when you're trying to work on this. Okay. So those three shifts that I've given you today, um, you know, the key is when you are to, because what really happens when we're having a relationship conversation is for our partner, what is happening is they're being brought into a conversation where they're given a big long list of everything they're doing wrong and everything they need to do to change. So you have to be very, very aware of, and you have to be really honest and onto yourself. Are you doing that? Because it's pretty subtle stuff. And when you make the shift into, hey, this is what I need to work on, this is what I'm doing. Is there anything that I need to do differently that would help you? And you genuinely talk about you and your experience and what you would love. And you do that consistently and honestly. It takes real work because we're very good at kidding ourselves. We think, you know, I think I'm talking about myself, but really I've sort of covertly gone on to read between the lines and you need to do this. So you have to be really onto yourself and consistently, openly, lovingly make requests. And if, after a period of time, things aren't changing, your partner is not mirroring you, then you have your true and real answer. But you have to first work on yourself. Two, Not then expect or cajole or pressurize your partner to work on themselves. You just have to genuinely ask for what you want in a relational way. So, this all makes perfect sense, but my struggle right now is trying to regain trust and love from my wife. So, it is, I don't know what's happened, but I'll say this to you. It's not your wife. If you have done something that has broken trust and love, and you own that, it's not your partner's job to build this back up for you. It's not your partner's job to give this to you. Okay? This is something that you will need to work on in yourself. Do you trust yourself? Do you love yourself? Have you forgiven yourself? Okay? Your partner can't do it for you, is what I would say to you. And you can come back to me with a response on that if you would like to or not. So my partner always says I'm complaining when I'm just trying to solve problems. Okay, so this is objective reality. Objective reality has no place in our relationships. Um, your partner says you're complaining, you say they're problems. And so you two can have a big old debate about that. You can debate that till the cows come home. Is this a problem? Isn't this a problem? Okay. And so um, you've got to get out of the discussion about is this a problem or is it just you making a fuss? That's the objective reality fight that we have. Objective reality has no place in our relationships. There's how I'm thinking and feeling, and there's how your partner's thinking and feeling. Okay. So, you know, um, when you talk about the problems in our relationship, you talk about them as if they're a fact and they're not. They're your experience, they're your wants and desires. So shifting out of, okay, we need to talk about this into this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm struggling with. Would you talk with me about this? I am unhappy. Would you talk with me? Are you willing to? And when you consistently ask in that way, if the person continues to refuse, then yeah, that's going to be it's going to cause problems in your relationship. So, the debate about whether you're reasonable and right to feel unhappy, it's irrelevant. This is how you're feeling. And I'd love to talk about this with you. Would you be willing to talk with me about this? Yeah. And then it can't be this, how you feel cannot be dismissed or debated. Yeah, that's how you're feeling. All right. Have we got any more questions here? Okay. All right then. Let's have a look. Brilliant. All right, guys. I hope that was helpful for you. You got no more questions? That's great. All right.
Sorry, I have a question, but I cannot use the chat. Can
Okay,
I
yeah,
ask
please
you?
go
Okay.
ahead.
So, what happens if there's a kind of a passive aggressiveness start in the relations? So, when you have a friction between you, your partners stop talking, so you are not talking each other for weeks, months, then is trying to turn into the normal mode when he starts speaking, but you don't have a kind of a platform that you talk about the problems and how to avoid in the future. So he's expecting you to turn to the normal mode.
Yeah. So you haven't spoken for weeks or months.
Yes.
And so have you asked why we're not speaking?
No.
Okay. Hmm. So I'm imagining, thinks that nothing is wrong then. If you haven't asked or wondered why don't we speak to each other? This
Yeah,
is
just to give a bit background, it happens, I think it's the 15th time now. So
mm,
I gave up asking the same thing.
okay. All right. So, are you unhappy with this?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so have you said, um, this is difficult for me?
yeah. The last time it happened, I said how I find difficult. Unclarity makes me trigger that to the mood that becomes so defensive. I'm becoming so defensive because of my childish trauma. If something is not clear, I'm making a lot of scenarios in my mind. I tried to explain last time when it happens.
Hmm. Yeah. And so every time it goes silent, and that's not nice for you, you don't like it, and you've said you don't like it.
Yeah, I said.
When it goes back to normal, what do you do?
I am trying to talk about the issue that happened,
Yeah,
and he is saying that it was a difficult thing for me to start talking with you, so I don't want to talk anymore.
yeah.
So let's continue.
And so what do you do?
And I continue talking.
Yeah. So if when we continually say that we don't like something, but we go along with it, nothing will change.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really difficult, isn't it? So this is the problem. We only change if there are consequences. We only yeah, if the behavior isn't a problem for us and there are no consequences if we do these things, we will just carry on. Yeah, because this situation isn't a problem for him, it's only a problem for you. Yeah,
Hmm.
and if you, although you say you don't like it but you still go along with it, it won't change.
Yeah, I had that discussion with my therapist as well. My
Yeah,
therapist is saying that why you are not talking about that. If it continues like that, you will be divorcing. But I
yeah,
don't want to divorce.
yeah. So
That's because
so
I love him. Yeah.
yeah, but so what I say to people who are in these situations is uh you is the ladder of consequences. So I want you to think about all the ways we behave in the house, in private with each other, that we would never behave like that in public. So when I talk to people about their automatic default responses,
Mm.
they say, there's nothing I can do. It just comes over me. Um, it's just, it overpowers me. There's nothing I can do. And so I say to these people, do you do this at work? Do you do it at a social event? Yeah. And the answer is the vast majority, mostly, is no. I don't
Mm.
shout, I don't ignore, I don't shut down in a work meeting when uh when I'm asked something I don't
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I know
and
where
the
you are coming.
reason we don't do that is because of consequences, immediate consequences. Social shame. We'd get the sack. We'd get fired. So you've got to think about, if there are no consequences, we don't change. So, the this is very normal. You say, you know, the option is divorce. Yeah, we go to the very end point, to the nuclear black and white. Well, like I have to leave them. They won't change. I have to leave them. And I want you to think about the subtle ladder of consequences. So the sort of things that people do is I'm not going to cook you dinner. If you don't talk to me, if you ignore me, I'm not going to cook you dinner. I'm not going to go out socially with you. I'm not going to be your plus one. I'm not going to sleep in the same bed as you. Yeah, I'm not going to have sex with you anymore. I'm not going to have sex with someone who ignores me. Yeah. So there's this ladder of consequences that you can create. Now, make no bones about it. It's a risky ladder. Yeah, if you can go up this ladder, and if the person, the consequences don't affect them, you can end up with ending a relationship. But you've just identified, if I do nothing, the relationship will end anyway. So I want you to think about, if this dynamic is no good for you, how do you want to, just with, you know, not go along with it anymore? What would
Yeah.
happen if you stopped going along with this dynamic?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, we got another conversation, another question here. Okay. And if anyone else wants to unmute themselves and ask a question, please do. So, yeah, so um, what would forgiveness? I've got a person here asking about regaining trust and love from their partner. What would that look like? Do are there specific things that your partner could do that would make you feel that trust and love had returned? Because this stuff can be very vague. We have rules around our emotions that determine how easily and how frequently we experience the emotions. And so you say that things have changed dramatically between you, and she is much warmer. Um, and so yeah, I mean, what is it more that you would want to for this to come? I mean, I'll give you an example from my own experience with this that was transformational in my relationship, and it is always very helpful to my clients. I'm a very tactile person, and my partner is not. And I would constantly ask for affection and not get it. And I would say, you need to be more affectionate. I want more affection. Um, and I would never get it. And so I would go to my partner and ask them for a hug. But when they gave me a hug, I would say, oh, it feels forced, it feels fake. Oh, this is pointless. And I would be frustrated and upset. So my rule around affection that I didn't realize that I had was that the affection had to be spontaneous. It had to be unasked for. So I didn't know I had this rule. So I only felt love when I had a spontaneous hug. Now I've got a partner who wasn't raised in a family that hugged and kissed each other. So I'm just it's not going to happen. And it definitely wasn't going to happen the way I was asking, which was shaming, blaming, and making him feel guilty. My message just wasn't landing. So once I understood this rule that I had, um, I was able to I was able to change my role. An asked for hug is just as important as an unasked for hug. So I intentionally went and would go and ask for this hug. I would feel love. I would be happy. And finally, my message landed because previously I would ask for a hug and hugs made me angry. So I was unintentionally communicating, never hug me. Once I switched this role and I was happy, I would get the hug and I would ask for the hug. I'd be happy to say, oh, this is so lovely. I love this hug. My message finally landed. Oh, hugs make her happy. So, my wife is much warmer than she was, and I am supporting her and working on myself without expectancy. So I see in your message you are aware that there's probably a bit of pressure there, expectancy, and you want her to be a certain way, and she probably feels quite a lot of pressure around that. So yeah, working on your own wants and needs, filling your own cup, and then going to your relationship to give. How does your wife feel? How does your wife experience love and trust? And are you talking her language? For my partner, I had to learn how he experienced love. and I learned to give love in the way he experienced it, not just in the way I want it. So yeah. I mean, I would say, but book that meeting with me, and all of you, please, if you're still on this call, book that discovery meeting with me. Go to the chat now and click on the link and book that discovery meeting. And yeah, let me walk you through the relationship breakthrough program, and we can see if it's right for you. So there's 3 spaces on that program right now. So that's first come, first serve. So that's 6 months, one-to-one private coaching with me alongside my online course that you get lifetime access to with all the tools and concepts, the stuff I've shared with you today, and much, much more videos and worksheets of these relationship skills. And I won't just teach you these skills, I'll help you manage that part of you that does not want to use skills in the moment. This is how we move insight into implementing, because knowing the skills and then being able to use them in the heat of the moment are 2 very different things. But once you get that, it is a skill you can learn. This stuff moves very fast. It's very fast. So yeah, I hope that was helpful for you all, and I'm really grateful for you all showing up on this call today. And please just click on that link and get that call booked. Thank you very much. Have a great day.